Hi, my name is Peristu Imami, and I'm the host of The Road to Success for Your Highly Sensitive Child. This podcast is about empowering parents of highly sensitive children to nurture their child's unique personality trait and create a path to success. Our podcast provides guidance, insights, and support to help you unlock your child's full potential, fostering resilience, confidence, and a bright future. If you're new to my podcast, please go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2 because they provide information on high sensitivity that all subsequent episodes will build upon. If you skip these episodes, you won't get as much out of this and all subsequent episodes. To book a private coaching session with me, please click on the link in my bio or go to www.pod.co/coach to parents of HSC, all one word. Today's episode is about the importance and impact of your words on your highly sensitive child. Words can be especially powerful for sensitive children. Positive and affirming words can boost their self-esteem and confidence. Conversely, negative or critical words can have a lasting negative impact, causing them to internalize feelings of inadequacy or anxiety. So here are some examples of negative words. Obviously, these are words that you want to avoid using with your highly sensitive child. The first one is comparison. We talked about this in earlier episodes where I explained that my parents used to compare me to my brother all the time. And they would always say, "Why can't you be more like your brother?" And that really hurt my feelings and really made me feel that I'm not enough, that I'm not adequate, and there's something wrong with me. And the more they used that, the more it affirmed to me that I was not enough, that there was something wrong with me. Another way of using comparison is saying, they always do things better than you, whether that's referring to a friend or a schoolmate or a sibling or a family member. Comparisons are really, really detrimental to any child, but especially to a highly sensitive child. Next is labeling. Often when I was little, not by my parents, I don't recall, but definitely with one of my uncles. He's no longer with us, but when I was little, he would teach me math. And because he was so scary and so harsh, I couldn't concentrate on what he was saying. I was so scared of him that I just could not at all listen to what he was saying to me. So he would teach me some math problems, and then I wouldn't get it. And he would say, "My God, you're so dumb. How many times do I need to explain this to you? You just don't get it. You're so dumb." And I was really little. I think I was in first grade when he was teaching me. And then I had another aunt that was on my mom's side. My uncle was on my dad's side, and my aunt was on my mom's side. And she was a school teacher in Iran. And I don't know what subject she was teaching me, but again, I had the same situation. I think it was science, and same situation where I just couldn't listen to her. I just couldn't focus on what she was saying to me because I was so afraid of her. And so she said the same exact words to me. "You're so dumb. Why can't you get this? It's so simple." And so I grew up believing that I'm not smart. And actually, it's quite sad because I had these feelings of not being smart enough, even as an adult, way into my career. Even though I was successful in my career, even though I was a top performer, even though over and over again I would get the best reviews, I still felt that I was dumb. And thankfully, not too long ago, I was able to heal myself from this labeling that happened in my childhood, and I'm no longer feeling those feelings. But it took me quite a long time to heal from them. Another labeling is saying you're too sensitive. I got this a lot. You're too sensitive. You just need to toughen up. A lot of highly sensitive children and highly sensitive people get this comment a lot. I mean, I know I've heard this from every single one of my clients, and I've heard this from all of the people that I know who are highly sensitive people. They're not children, but they're adults. And so this is quite often. So definitely, as their parent, you don't want to be one of those people that gives them this comment. Next is dismissive statements, such as you're overreacting. It's not a big deal. I would get this a lot by my parents. My dad loved to jingle with his coins in his pocket. And oh my God, as you know, I'm very sensitive to sound, and this would drive me crazy. And I would beg my dad not to do this. And he would do it even like harder. He would make it sound even louder. And he thought it was funny. And it made me feel so unheard, and that he didn't care. He didn't love me. If he loved me, why would he want to hurt me? So it really made me develop this negative relationship with my dad until I was an adult. And when I found out that I'm highly sensitive and I explained that to my parents, initially they didn't get it, but over time they understood, and they got it. They understood that when I've been telling them all these years that I hear things louder than they do, and they thought it was, hilarious, and it was me overreacting. And they finally got it, that it's actually truthful and it does bother me. So I can tell you that I will walk in the room where my dad is playing with his coins in his pocket, and the minute he sees me, he stops. And you wouldn't believe how loved I feel by that gesture and by that action on his part, because it makes me feel seen, heard, loved, validated. And those are all the things that you want your child to feel. And the other dismissive statement that I hear a lot is, stop being so dramatic. Oh my God, you're being so dramatic. And this can be with any comment that your child would make, such as, oh, the light is so bright. And for you, it may not be bright, but for your child, it's extremely bright because they're sensitive to light. Or in my case, I'm sensitive to all my senses are sensitive. So I'm sensitive to light, sensitive to loud sounds. I'm sensitive to itchy clothing. So wool is not my friend. So just be aware that it could be any of their senses or all of them. And then the next one is sarcasm. Definitely do not want to use sarcasm with a highly sensitive child. So things like, great job on that drawing if you're going for the abstract look. Or, sure, you're the best player on the team in your dreams. So you never, whatever it is that your child is engaged in, even if they're not the best at it, you never want to bring that to their attention. You want to just encourage them to keep working at it and become better and better, because over time, practice makes perfect. And then negative predictions. Saying things like, this is all your fault, or if you hadn't done that, everything would be fine. So I remember my mom loves to blame. To this day, no matter how many times I bring it to her attention, she still does it. It's just become her way of being. It's a habit now that I don't think she's going to be able to get rid of at her age. But she loves to blame. I remember when I was little, I think I was 11 or 12 years old. And it must have been 11 because my dad hadn't joined us in the US yet. So my mom and I and my little brother, who's 11 years younger than me, we're in the car and we're in a parking structure and we're about to take off to go home. And my mom, instead of reversing the car, goes forward. And, in many parking lots, they have these bumpers. And so she goes over the bumper and she thinks that she's damaged the engine of the car and she starts blaming me for it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm 12 years old. I don't know how to drive. How am I supposed to tell you that you should go in reverse instead of forward when you're pulling out of a parking spot? So it was just so hilarious how she immediately blamed me for it. But thankfully, I was wise enough to know that that was not my fault. Next is shaming. Shaming is, it looks like, what's wrong with you? Why would you do that? You should be ashamed of yourself. Shaming is so wrong in so many ways. And you never, ever want to use shaming language with your kids. Another form of shaming is saying, like, you're just like your dad. You don't know how to control your anger or your emotions. That's also shaming. So it's comparison, but it's also shaming. It's both. So it's a double negative, and you never want to use that. I had a client who used that sentence with her child, and I was there while she used this phrase that you're just like your dad. You don't know how to manage your anger, and you don't know how to manage your emotions. And I waited. I was just in a shock because I was not expecting my client to say this to her child after, after being aware of the fact that her child is highly sensitive. And I waited for the child to get distance from us. And I turned to my client and I said, "Oh, that's a big no-no." And she was so surprised. She couldn't understand what she had done wrong. So sometimes, my point in this story is that sometimes you use these negative words with your children or child, and you're not like thinking about it. You're not having a malintention, and you don't think that it's harmful. But in fact, all of these various negative words that I've been talking about are extremely impactful to your highly sensitive child in a very negative way. So they tend to lead children to be more self conscious, have a less degree of self confidence. They would feel like they are not adequate, they're not enough. So, and this list goes on and on. Next one, and the last one, is threats. If you don't do better, I won't love you anymore. This was used on me a lot when I was little by my mom. She would always tell me, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, I won't love you anymore. And I truly believed her. I honestly believed every word that she said. And I was so terrified that she would take her love away from me. And the other one is, you'll never make friends if you keep acting like this. So my mom didn't use this one on me, but she used something similar. When I was a little bit older, and like teenage years, my mom wanted me to cook. And she really wanted to teach me how to cook. And I was so not into cooking at that time. And so she would say, you're never going to find a husband if you're not going to learn how to cook. If you don't know how to cook, you're never going to find a husband. And, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to find a husband that is going to cook for me. But even though I had this thought in my head that I was kind of dismissing my mom, but those words still penetrated and they still hurt me. And they still had a negative impact on me, despite the fact that in my mind, I was dismissing them. But they did their harm to me nonetheless. So it's important to note that these statements, even if not intended to be harmful, can have a significant impact on a highly sensitive child. The key is to be mindful of your words and strive for positive and constructive communication to foster a healthy and supportive environment. And if you believe that you've used any of the negative words that I've mentioned above, please take the time to make repair with your child or children. This is so important. And when you go to make repair, please be as specific as possible and explain to your child why you use those negative words and the fact that you didn't realize at the time that you used them that they could be potentially harmful to your child. And that now that you know better, you want to go and you want to apologize and make things right with your child. This goes such a long way because highly sensitive children, not only do they get impacted, but they carry that impact with them. Sometimes even for life, if they haven't learned how to heal themselves, they may carry that burden for life. So don't think that, this was said, 2 months ago or 6 months ago, and she probably doesn't remember anymore. Believe me, she remembers. So let's talk about positive words, which I honestly, this is much more my forte than negative words. I think it's mostly because most of those negative words that were used, that I mentioned, were used on me as a child, either by my caregivers or, family members. So let's concentrate on positive words. These are words of encouragement. I believe in you. You can do anything you set your mind to. You're smart. I'm so proud of you. Next is acknowledgement of effort. That would look like, I see how hard you're working on this. I'm really proud of you. Good job. Your effort really impresses me. Next is praise for specific achievement, such as, you did a fantastic job on your project. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of how well you handled that situation. I remember one time I was with my brother and he was praising his daughter for standing up for herself and advocating for herself with the school principal and the way she did it and he went into specifics about the words she used and how she carried herself and how she made the other person feel, kind of like at ease. It was just amazing how detailed my brother was and how heartfelt he was saying all these things, and it was just so amazing to witness, to be a witness to that. So as much as you can, I encourage you to be specific with your praise. Affirmation of feelings. That would look like, it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. I would feel the same way if I were in your shoes. I understand that this is tough for you. I'm so sorry. How can I help? Expressions of love and support. That would look like, I love you so much. I love you just the way you are, exactly the way you are. No matter what happens, I'm here for you. Positive reinforcement. I appreciate your kindness. You have a great heart. Keep being compassionate. I wish more people were as compassionate as you are. Problem-solving collaboration. Let's work together to figure this out. What do you say? Your ideas are important. Let's find a solution together. Celebration of individuality. I love how unique you are. Being different is what makes you special. I love the fact that you're so empathetic and that you're so sensitive. I love that about you. Setting realistic expectations. Mistakes happen. They help us learn and grow. As humans, we all make mistakes. I've made so many mistakes in my life, but I've learned from them and they've helped me grow. And I make sure that I never make the same mistake twice. You're doing your best, and that's what matters. Keep doing your best, and eventually you'll get it right. Future orientation. I'm excited to see what amazing things you'll achieve. Your potential is limitless. These positive words and affirmations can contribute to building a child's self-esteem, fostering a sense of security, and creating a supportive environment for their emotional well-being. As we close this episode, I want to remind you that you have the power to create a bright and successful future for your highly sensitive child. Embrace their uniqueness, nurture their strengths, and provide them with the love and support they need. Together, we can pave a path to success that aligns with their sensitivity. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, you're not alone on this journey. We'll be here with more insights and inspiration in our next episode. Until then, keep believing in your child's potential because they truly are extraordinary. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and stay committed to setting your child up for success in life. To book a private coaching session with me, please click on the link in my bio or go to www.pod.co/coach to parents of HSC, all one word.